doing today? Thanks so much for watching. My name is Andy. I'm having a great day. Thanks for asking. So in this video, we're going to talk about angels and connecting with them. Someone asked me in the comments, actually in the middle of the night, and I woke up to it, the middle of the UK night that is, I woke up to it, all about how can she find her angels. And that's a question so many people ask. I thought that's a great subject for a video for today, so that's what we're going to do. Perhaps the most important aspect of this is to remember that the angels are actually on our side. So whoever you're looking for in the angel realms, they are on your side. Every one of us does actually have a guardian angel. Every one of us has a special angel that's actually dedicated to helping us. And that's very easy to lose sight of in this world because they're kind of elusive. It's not that they mean to be elusive in any way. They are pure love and they are pure light. But they know you. That's the thing, to hang on to that thought. They know you. They've known you since before you were born. These connections are made out there in eternity. So let's go through 5 things that are going to help us as we try to connect to our angels.
Number 1. Clear vibrations.
So to keep a clear vibration, very important actually, because the angels are at the highest vibrational level there is, really. We talk about archangels and there are hierarchies in the angel realms, but all of them come from the very highest realms, however much they might be working with us on the earth plane. And on the earth plane, our human body is where the spiritual soul lives. So it actually lowers the vibration quite a bit. When someone reaches the end of their worldly life and the body dies and the soul passes away, the soul immediately goes to a much higher vibration. And this is what mediums tune into, really. It's more than anything a medium does, it's trying to tune into that vibration. And so keeping a clear vibration is especially important for mediums so that that information can keep coming and going. And there are many things in this world which will cloud our vibration, not least, and since we're on YouTube, I think it's well worth mentioning, actually, there's a lot of bad news about in the world. There's a lot that we could worry about if we really set our minds in that direction. And so always try and keep yourself looking up, you know, because the answers are always going to be up there more than they are down there, or even more than they are straight ahead. The answers are very, very high level energy indeed, especially when we're trying to connect with angels, but any spiritual answer lies in that direction. So, you know, I'm as guilty as anybody else, I really am. I watch stuff about murders, I watch stuff about bad things that have happened in the world. It's compelling, and to be fair, you know, some of the highest vibrational living souls that there are, and I'm talking about monks, nuns, people who are committed to a spiritual life, will actually watch the news, will actually read newspapers every day so that they can pray for all the bad stuff, all the dark stuff, all the low stuff that's going on in the world. So it doesn't necessarily follow that you've got to ignore all these things, but as you're taking those things in, always be, you know, try and see yourself as a little bit elevated above that worldly level. All these bad things that go on in the world are always down to human activity of one kind or another, and that makes us think, well, I'm a human being, I'm part of it, there's no way of getting away from that. But that's not really how it works. You do have within your human body a spiritual soul which is capable of living at a very, very high vibration indeed. So always look with compassion on people who are responsible for these bad things. It's easy to have compassion for people who are the victims of these things, and that's very important too. But that is the easier thing because we tend to be horrified. But this is one of the craziest teachings in any spiritual tradition that there is, actually. Trying to have compassion for the people who cause these bad things going on in the world. People who've got no spiritual vision or don't care about it, or think that if they had any kind of spiritual vision at all, or put any of their focus into spiritual matters, that they'd somehow be losing the race to make as much money as possible, regardless of what happens to people. They might be losing out on some ideal, like we think of the Nazis and their ideas about clearing out certain races from humanity. And it's not just the Nazis, is it? You know, genocide is a terrible thing, and I'm afraid it's still with us. But if we can have some kind of compassion for the people that cause these things, and I don't mean giving them any support at all, but just having compassion for the fact that they actually do have a soul which they are wrecking and don't even know it. If we say a prayer for them, then, you know, that really does lift us above the whole game. And hopefully it'll lift them above the whole dirty game that's going on and allow some light to come into them. Because the answers really to what all these powerful dictators and kind of the 1% that we're always talking about who don't seem to care about the rest of us, if they were uplifted in some way and just got a bit closer to the light, think how much better the world would be, really. So that's all part of keeping a clear vibration amidst a world which is always trying to draw the vibration down. The other side of that is just, you know, within yourself. If you have a special time when you're going to be trying to attract the angels into your life, or trying to get in touch with them, getting close to them, just do it in the lightest way possible. For example, for this video, I've chosen this background of trees because it's very grounding. And it's a picture, but it shows the light of truth kind of shining down into this earthly realm. So that's positive. And I've also worn my white hoodie just to kind of make the video look as light as I can, because I want to draw people like you, my friends, to watch it, who are actually interested in these things and who are actually looking to clear the way for the angels to come through, because that's what it's all about, really. You know, it's clearing a path into your soul for your angels to come closer. Your angels are out there and they already know who you are. They're close to you, and you know, they're closer than we could ever imagine possible. They are actually pretty much in the room with you wherever you are. I am sure of that. It's just that vibrational thing, you know. Every colour, everything we see, everything we hear, every sound has a vibration which is going at a fairly low rate so that we can hear it in our human body and maybe even feel it in our heart. But the higher the vibration gets, the more we feel it in our heart and the less we can actually see or hear it. It's like a dog whistle, you know, those whistles that you blow for a dog, and you can't actually hear anything at all, but the dog can, because the dog can hear a higher vibration. The animals around us are much more aware of these things than we are, friends, believe me. But, you know, the angels, any of your spirit guides, any of your loved ones who've passed on into the afterlife are very, very close around you, but they're at a high vibrational rate, a rate that we can't actually see with our eyes open and we can't actually hear. And even speaking as a spiritualist medium, I'm very fortunate to be able to tune into those vibrations, but I do have to make an effort to tune into them. That's a fact. I have to give it some time. People are sometimes scared of mediums because they think we've got ghosts walking around with us. And that's not the case at all. You know, we have to consciously actually want to have that communication, and then it comes in. So think of the angels that way, friends. If you actually want that vibration to be high enough for that to happen, do everything you can to clear your vibration. This means getting away from negative influences and up to a point getting away from negative people if you can. But that's what it's all about. And it's not an easy thing to get away from negative people and negative situations, particularly at the moment in this world. There is so much homelessness going on that a great many of us are living in situations with negative people that we just can't get out of. But visualize a sort of ring of light around you, you know, a protective bubble, if you will. That's another way to see it, because, you know, the spiritual forces will actually protect you when you're trying to tune into these things. So keep your vibration as clear as you possibly can and try to be in a space with a nice clear vibration too.
Number 2, meditate.
This is where a lot of people give up. And it's a shame, it really is. Meditation is something that any human being is going to find quite difficult to get into in the beginning. I don't care what anyone says. It is actually a transition of the mind into the light, into the clarity that we were talking about earlier. And it's not an easy leap to make in the first place, but once you've actually done it, it gets a bit easier the next time, and it gets easier and easier as you go along. I might be the world's worst for this. I'm still struggling with it after many years, but I am getting results, and that's the main thing. Because in meditation, we're connecting to the subconscious mind. That's really what it's all about, because it's in the subconscious mind that our spirit guides talk to us, and that's how the angels get through as well, more than anything else. And their messages come in dreams so much through the subconscious mind. And that's why I'm always telling people to write your dreams down, keep a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil or something you can write things down with next to your bed, and write your dreams down as soon as you wake up. It's amazing how much of dreams get lost within the first sort of 10 minutes or so of being awake. But hey, that's dreams. That's a whole nother area. But all these areas play into each other. They all work together one way or another. And meditation, it floors so many people. Lots of people say to me, oh, I've tried to meditate for years and I can't meditate. It's as simple as that. Now, friends, if you think you can't meditate, that is actually because you're very well suited to meditation, because in your heart and in your soul and your mind, you want to get it absolutely right. You want to be impeccable about it. And that's what really makes people think they can't meditate. Because when we first try to meditate, absolutely any of us, I don't care what anyone says, any of us get caught up in stuff that's going on in the conscious mind, at the front of the mind. Have I left something electrical switched on which will burn the house down while I'm meditating? Have I got enough food? Am I going to forget something important? What are the kids doing? Oh dear, I've got someone visiting me tomorrow. All those thoughts start flooding in when we try to quiet the mind and when we try to meditate. And it's for practical reasons, it really is. In one of the guided meditations that I give out, and I must make a video of this actually, I'm trying to find some copyright-free music that'll go with the meditation and work. I'll find it in the end, I really will. But part of me taking a guided meditation is that I always implant the suggestion into people that if there's any sound of alarm, if there's a fire or something, that they will actually come round and be able to deal with it. And the other side of it is if there's something that's less urgent but nevertheless important, I tell people to put that thing on a cloud and visualize it floating away. Give it to the angels, really. And we're trying to connect to the angels, but this is all about the fact that the angels are connected to you, no matter how far away that idea might seem, no matter how far out it might seem, no matter how far away the angels might seem. You can give a problem to the angels, and it'll still be there when you come back from your meditation, so you will be able to handle it. And so, one piece at a time, we build it up so that we can actually somehow slip away into meditation. And meditation won't actually stop you from dealing with the problems of life in any way. In fact, it will enhance your ability to deal with the problems in life. And that will actually help to clear your vibration, as we were talking about in the last bit. So meditation's an incredibly positive thing to do. And there are two ways of meditating. Now, if you particularly want to meet up with your angels, that might be the intention of your meditation. And you can have an intention for your meditation. You really can. But a wonderful way to do it is just to try and clear the mind, because that way you will see what comes. If you decide that I'm going to clear my mind and see what comes, that's a different matter, because you've attached yourself to a particular outcome of seeing what comes, no matter how random you're willing to let that be. Just clear the mind and be as still as you can. And that's a journey. That'll take a few sessions if you've never meditated before. And if you have meditated before, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, actually. But it becomes the easiest thing in the world. It really does. The more you do it, the easier it becomes to actually get into that meditative state. And that is a wonderful way of meeting your angels, your spirit guides, anything. Getting in tune with the violet flame, that's another whole level of meditation, which brings such healing and alchemy and transformation into your life. But if you meditate regularly, the fact is the angels can get to work on your life. They can get to work on your heart, and wonderful things can begin to happen. In fact, what it really boils down to is you will become aware of the wonderful things that are happening in your life. And if you think back in time, friends, I'm sure we can all imagine a time when something amazing happened that got us out of trouble. Or something like that, something really positive that was the last thing we expected. That is the angels being at work, it really is. And in meditation, we invite them closer and we just create a clear vibration that they can actually work in, that they can actually use to make things happen.
Number 3, give it time.
And this really is part of meditation, it's part of a clear vibration, it's part of everything that I'm going to talk about, actually. Giving it time is so important because that allows the mind to calm down. We all want this to happen as soon as possible, and I'm not at all surprised by that. Whenever I'm asking the angels for help, which I do all the time, I want it to happen as quickly as possible. But that's because we live in a state of time, and time is something that we human beings have invented as a way of keeping the world in order. There are cultures that have no word for time, that have no interest in time, and the people, for sure, like all of us, they're born as very tiny children and they get old as they go through their life, but they don't really see that as an issue. Certainly older people are always respected in those cultures and looked up to because they have the experience. But experience, although it comes with time, it is a very different thing from the whole idea of time. Now this again is a difficult one because we all live lives where we've got to do things by a particular time. There are schedules for things. For example, as I'm doing this, I'm thinking, I must get this uploaded in time to go live at my usual YouTube time, which is 9 p.m. UK time, and that means 3 p.m. Central USA time. And I always aim for that time because it's an important part of getting the spiritual message out and actually connecting with people. And I need to do that because, that's what I'm here to do. That's my job. But to really be able to do this job, I've gone through many, many years before I went anywhere near YouTube of doing things like meditation, of learning about clearing my vibration. All the things I'm talking about in this video have taken me time to actually get to the point where I can describe them sensibly to other people in a way that actually adds up for people to listen to. So giving it time is really, really crucial. Now I am one of the world's worst at actually getting names and identities from people in the spirit realms, whether they're angels or people who've lived this human life that we've now lost, as it were, to the other side. And we never lose them, it just feels that way because they lose the body. We haven't got anyone to give a hug to or anything like that. But so much of this world is based on time. In fact, really, it's all based on time. That it's quite difficult at first to understand timelessness, but that's something that meditation will actually help with, because no matter how long you spend meditating, and 5 minutes is enough, quite honestly, it doesn't really matter how much time you give it. The time is all about quieting the mind and slowing the breathing down. The information comes in a blink of an eye. Like most of the dreams we have physically only take a couple of seconds before we suddenly wake up. It's just the way the human mind works. So with time, you will actually get to know your angels quite closely. And I'm sure a lot of you watching this are already in touch with your angels and could probably tell me the name of your angel. But then again, a lot of people don't have that ability. as yet, but we all have that ability innate within us. We can all actually make these things happen in time. And I was incredibly lucky. Just after I found out I was a medium, I got a reading from an amazing medium who'd been doing it for a long time. And again, you see, it's giving it time. I was already a medium, but I hadn't had any training and I didn't know how to use it. And that's the fact, mediums are born and not made. It's a fact of life. But this guy had been doing it for a long time, and he actually told me that I had an angel working with me, and he told me her name. And even then, it took time for that to really sink in, because it was over the next couple of days, weeks, months, but I started noticing within a couple of days that name kept coming up. She was called Melissa. She still is called Melissa, I'm sure, because she's an eternal being. And I just kept seeing the name Melissa. It kept popping up in videos, and everywhere I looked, friends talking would mention someone called Melissa. And it made absolute sense to me within a few days. But even though, I was told it on the same day that I found out I was a medium, I was a good couple of weeks into the experience before I could really firmly believe it. Now, I'm talking about a couple of weeks, but that actually happened when I was 45 years old. I'm quite a lot older than that now. But so 45 years of my life went past before I actually found out that I had an angel at all, let alone what her name was. But I did get to know it in the end. And I'll say it again, this is a timeless kind of connection that we have with the angels. And it's all to do with the high vibration that they work on. They have to somehow get through to our worldly vibrational level, which is really quite low. And they can do it, they really can do it. But give it time, friends, give it as much time as it takes. It's not going to take your whole life, I'm sure of that. Pretty soon you'll get to know. But just by meditating, just by keeping a clear vibration, and just being in the frame of mind that you're going to give it as long as it takes, and let's face it, why would you want to kind of cut anything off from that experience of learning and growing? Because it's all learning and growing as we come towards understanding about our angels and knowing who they are and knowing how they work. It's a growing journey all the time, and it's a wonderful journey of discovery. No point at all in cutting it short, so give it time.
Number 4, special place.
Another aspect of this is having a special place to go to, or maybe several special places that you love to go to. I'm incredibly lucky, and as you saw right at the beginning of this video, I was at home there, I still am, and I'm surrounded by beautiful green forests and lush Welsh woodlands, which are ancient woodlands, which have been here really since time began. This is a very unspoiled area because it's very mountainous. It's virtually impossible. Well, it is impossible really to build a city in a place like this. And it's virtually impossible to build houses, and I'm very lucky this house is here. So I've found a very special place, and I'm very, very lucky to live in it. But friends, understand please that wherever you live was once a special place like that, and was once very kind of earthy and very original, and was once a place of absolute nature before the human race came along. And in your meditations, unless you're trying to clear your vibrations, you can actually link to that. Just imagine, whatever concrete structure you might be in, whatever the concrete beneath your feet is up to. There is that song, isn't it? The concrete and the clay beneath my feet. There is clay under the concrete. There is earth under the concrete. And it's there, and you can connect to it spiritually, because spiritually, you don't have to worry about anything physical that's in the way. It really is there. So wherever you are really is a special place, and you could say a sacred place. But we all have particular places like that we like to go to, or that we feel more comfortable doing spiritual practices in. Even me with this beautiful place here, there's another place about 3 hours drive away from here called Glastonbury Tor. which you may have heard of. Some say it's the heart chakra of the planet, and I can well believe it. And it's great for me to go to that special place, and I do fairly often, at least every year. I suppose that's not all that often, is it? But again, timelessness kicks in here, and I don't have to go there on time by a particular time. I just like to go there every year or so. And I feel sure that I actually met an angel at Glastonbury, on Glastonbury Tor, which is a great big hill which goes back to about 3000 BC, which has been built in a very flat area, Salisbury Plain, that's where it is. And I climb up the Tor, which it's really hard work to climb up there, it's very high. And I get to the top, and wonderful things happen. I meet wonderful people, and I'm sure that I actually met an angel up there at one point. And it was very early, again, in my spiritual journey as a medium. It was just after the time I was talking about in the last segment, when I just found out, and it was all just coming alive and being magical for me. I went up Glastonbury Tor, and I had an intention for the meditation I did up there. I wanted to know which way to go, because you can kind of be a healer, you can be a medium. There are several different ways of expressing your mission, your ministry. And I really wanted to find out what was the best way for me to go. And spiritually, it's all the same thing. It's all about the light, really. As a medium, you can do healing. As a healer, you can do mediumship. So I suppose to the angels it didn't really matter, but it mattered to me because I'm living this worldly life, and I wanted to know how best to do that work, what was going to get the best results for the spirit guides that I work for, what was going to be my best way of becoming part of the angelic mission in this world. Was it to be a medium or a healer? And I sat down on the top of Glastonbury Tor. And I'd chosen a day, which I always do actually. I choose a day when it's not the best weather because I'd like to be alone up there if I can be. That's kind of too selfish really, because these sacred places, these special places are there for everyone. But I like to be alone up there, so I always go when it's not the best weather. But there was one other person now. When I first got to the top, it was just me. And as I sat meditating, I heard footsteps, and there was someone wandering around with a bag over his shoulder, just, having a look. And great, he could obviously see that I was meditating, and he didn't disturb me or anything like that for quite a long time. But then I heard his voice behind me, and he said, "So have you decided which way you want to go yet?" And I thought that was pretty amazing, but I still didn't take in that this was someone, either a human being sent by the angels or an actual angel in human form talking to me. I didn't get it. I didn't tune in. I just thought, well, I suppose everyone who comes up here is trying to decide what to do. And that's not the case. That's not the case at all. But that's what I thought. And I talked to him a bit. And between us, we came to the conclusion that the best way for me to heal and be a medium was to actually be a medium and do the healing from that point of view in my earthly shell, in my earthly body. And around that time it was starting to get dark, because I'd gone up there not too long before dark, because again I wanted to make sure that I had as much solitude up there as I could get. And he said, "We better go down because I haven't got a torch, and if you haven't got a torch, it's going to get dark, and if we lose our footing, we could get hurt on the way down, so we better go." And I said, yeah, okay. So we walked down, and it took quite a long time to get down, and we were talking all the way. And then at the very bottom of Glastonbury Tor, there is a spring. It's called Chalice Well, and you can pay to go into the Chalice Well Gardens, which is a wonderful experience, actually, and I had already been in there. But for those who don't pay or can't pay, there's actually a spring from that, an offshoot from the same spring that comes out of a wall right at the base of Glastonbury Tor. And the water comes out, and it's really good to take a bottle with you, which I had, and my friend that I'd met had as well. His name was Chris, he said. And so Chris and I got our bottles, and we took some of the water from the spring that comes out in the wall, and we drank it. topped the bottles up again, put the lids on, and it was time to go. And I asked Chris if he wanted a lift because my car was parked very close by. And he said, no, thanks, you know, I'm going to Street. And I said, well, I'm driving through Street, which is the next town over from Glastonbury. And he said, oh, no, I like to walk. So, okay. So we said goodbye. I got in my car and started it. And as I started the car, Chris was just going round the corner in front of me, and he went out of view just as I was driving away. And in probably less than 5 seconds, I'd gone round this corner as well. And I was going to wave to Chris as I went past, but he wasn't there. And there was nowhere he could have possibly gone. He seemed to have disappeared into thin air. And putting all that whole experience together in my mind, I realised that I'd gone to that special place, which is very, very magical. And an angel had either come to me or had sent Chris somehow from some other dimension. And it was by going to that special place that I really found out for sure what I was supposed to do for my mission in the spiritual realms. And I'm still doing it to this day. It was so rock solid that I've never questioned it. So that's an example of what happened to me when I went to my most special place. And I'm sure if you think, guys, that there's a special place where you really feel calm, where you really feel at one, that's all it needs to be. You know, and if you find a special place to go to and either sit and meditate there or just be there, then I'm sure you will come closer to understanding who the angels are, who your angels are, and the role that they have in your life.
And number 5, don't worry.
This is great advice, whatever you're doing actually. It applies to just about everything in life. But it's definitely a part of getting in touch with your angels, getting in touch with your spirit guides and your spiritual mission in this life as well. Don't worry. There's a wonderful song called Don't Worry, Be Happy. And of course it's not that easy, is it? Being worried is a natural part of human life. We've all got concerns. I've got things that I'm concerned about. There's one thing that's actually not going to happen until 2023, and I'm making this video in 2021. So I really shouldn't worry about it, but it creeps over my consciousness every now and again. I think, OMG, what am I going to do when that time comes? I'm sure it'll be all right because I've got plenty of time to think of an answer. And this goes back to what I was saying about giving it time in an earlier segment. There is always going to be time for things to unfold in this life. And as soon as we're actually intending to link to the angels, to connect to our angels, we do actually bring them in that little bit closer, just through the intention, even if we're still not aware who they are or anything like that. So then it becomes much less necessary to worry about things. This is the great thing. And if you can try not to worry in the meantime, that is really going to clear your vibration. You know, worry is a heavy thing. It weighs on your mind, and that is a very, you know, it's a regular saying that everybody knows. Don't let things weigh on your mind. But that is a fact. Worry is a weight on your mind. And the more you can dispel that worry, the better. And if you can really make yourself stop worrying about things, that is a wonderful affirmation, actually, because that shows that you believe that the angels can help you, even though you might still be wondering who they are. It doesn't matter too much exactly who they are. They are very much suited to us, and we get in touch with them in the eternal realms before each incarnation. So you actually do know your angel. Your soul knows your angel. Even if you're wondering who your angel is and you don't physically know in the front of your conscious mind who your angel is or who your angels are, you have actually met them before. You really have. So they know who you are. They aren't restricted at all by anything about modern life or the ways of the world or anything like that. They have no restrictions. So don't worry, they are actually close, you know, and help is always at hand. And it really is that close. Like I said when we were talking about vibrations, the angels are there with you. The only reason that you might not be able to see them, or that you might feel that you can't hear them, is because the vibration is much higher than anything we can be aware of. But they can work on other people, they can work on other situations, and They can do the most amazing things because supposing you've asked, there's going to be a hearing or a tribunal or something, maybe something in a court of law that you're worried about. Well, if you had an angel who could walk in and talk to the judge is just going to say, oh, I'm sorry. It's all supposed to be based on Christianity, isn't it? But it's not really, not in any meaningful way. And any judge is going to say, I'm sorry, I'm not listening to some cockamamie angel story, and they'd get nowhere. But because they work at this very high vibrational level, it's kind of stealthy, and they can get in there. They can change people's thoughts. They can change outcomes, and they do all the time. So whatever's worrying you, don't worry. And particularly, don't worry about getting to know your angels, because you'll get to know your angels when everything is right, when the time is right, when the vibration is right, when you've spent some time in those special places. And what's the other one? And when you've given it some meditation as well. So I've got my cheat sheet down there in case I forget what I'm talking about, which I always do. And that's another thing about worrying that I discovered myself, actually. At one time in my life, many, many years ago, and everything's cool, I'm all right now. I'm not trying to make you feel sorry for me. But I had a really, really big stroke. And that made me worry about how I was going to communicate with people for the rest of my life, because it affected my voice. It still affects my voice a bit, but it used to affect my voice so much that nobody knew what I was talking about, even my own children. And that gave me great worry. But as you can see, there was nothing to worry about, because as time's gone forward, I got my voice back. And I'm sure you can relate to that. Maybe at some point in your life, you've broken a limb or you've suffered something painful. I'd like to hope not, but it's a human thing. It happens to all of us, sadly. And you'll be aware that you've healed from it. The body can heal. Healing is a very divine, very spiritual thing, but it's also something that the body is very good at. And so is the mind, actually. So if you can try and switch off from worrying about angels or anything else, then all that divine light is going to come that much closer to you, and it's really going to make a difference. What we're really saying here is detach from outcomes and detach from drama, which is something that we find on a lot of our oracle cards, and it's very wise at just about all times, because if we're looking for a particular outcome, then we're putting conditions on it, and the angels know what's best. The divine powers, the divine forces know what's best. They know what the best outcome is going to be, absolutely for sure. And if we don't detach from drama, it just all helps to keep our vibration low. So those are two important things to detach from. And the way to detach from them is just by taking the attitude, oh, I'm not going to worry about that, it's all going to be okay, because it is all going to be okay, one way or another. So basically, don't worry. I mean, if you think about it, have you ever worried about something and then it's happened? I mean, sometimes that is part of the experience of this world. But I bet, my friends, 99.9% of the things you've worried about have never happened. There's just no need to worry. And this is a great thing about watching YouTube instead of regular TV, actually, because regular TV will always show you the news and things on the news to worry about, and worry about this, buy this product, because if you don't, and just try and detach from all that, okay? This is one reason why I don't like to put ads on any of my videos. Because, I'm going to be talking about a subject like this, and someone's going to pop up and, you've got to worry if you don't buy this product is available, you should buy it, or something terrible is going to happen. I don't buy it. That's one way of putting it. And so just don't buy into the worry of this life, my friends. And if at all possible, cut yourself off from worry. So there we go, friends. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's taught you something. And if it has, what's really happened is that sitting here and listening, you've taught yourself something. You really have got it in you, okay? So know, my friends, that the angels are close to you. Don't worry about a thing. Keep it as real as you can, for sure. But remember, a big part of reality that's going on all around us all the time is spiritual activity, is the divine influence, the angelic influence. It's here in our world, whether we can see it, whether we can hear it or not, and they're all working for you all the time. I'll be back soon, so look forward to seeing you in a future video. Take care, friends. Love and light and blessings and peace.